Do you ever wonder why the most unqualified people seem to climb the ladder while the hardest workers always seem to get stuck? Well, I used to think it was all politics until I cracked the code. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact system I've used to help professionals land promotions, even in the most political companies, so you can finally get noticed and paid what you deserve. To start, I'll show you what leadership is really using to pick who gets promoted, so you can stop wasting effort on work that isn't going to get you noticed and focus on what actually works instead. Right, so most professionals don't get stuck because they're underperforming. They get stuck because they don't know what to aim at. They're meeting the requirements of the next role and getting strong performance reviews, so they assume that getting a promotion is just about timing, and when the position does become available, they watch as it gets given to someone else who didn't even meet the requirements. And when that happens, most professionals start wondering if they need to work harder, do some kind of online certificate, or they just need to start looking somewhere else. But the real problem is actually really simple. If you don't know what you're being evaluated on, then no amount of hard work will get you to the next level. It's like you've been handed a flat pack IKEA bookshelf, but not the instructions. You've got all the same pieces, the same screws, even those little Allen keys that they put in there. On paper, you've got everything you're supposed to have, and you've got everything everyone else has. But without the instructions, then you don't know what order to put it in, what actually matters, what corners you're able to cut. And then you look over and someone else has built an entire bookcase. Yeah, and sure, maybe it's a little wonky, it's a little crooked, one of the shelves fell down, but they still built it. And you're still standing there with a pile of parts, and that's why they got promoted and you didn't. Because to leadership, they've built a bookcase. But even though you have all the same pieces, yours is unassembled, and that's what makes you look not ready. And leadership don't promote the person with the most pieces, they promote the person who can assemble the thing. Which means if you want to get promoted at work, then you don't need to work harder, you just need the instructions. I'm going to show you where you can find the real promotion requirements and how to pull them out into the open so that you can stop doing the busy work and start doing the things that actually move you toward a promotion. Right, so most professionals approach getting promoted the same way they approach getting hired in the first place. They assume the company posts the role with clear, measurable requirements, and then you get screened against that list of requirements. And the assumption makes sense because even internal roles have job descriptions, just like the ones they post for external roles. But we've all seen those exceptions get made. Somebody gets promoted, it doesn't really meet the requirements on paper. The person who HR makes an exception for, or the person whose salary somehow lives outside of the rule that you were told you have to stay inside of. So we already know that those requirements can't be the whole story. And so what happens is, when you don't get promoted, is most people start looking for the measurable thing that they can improve, which means they go looking for more output, they put in more hours, they try and get better performance scores, they look online to try and get some online certification, because all of that stuff is measurable and it's trackable and you can stack it on top of each other and think, I'm more available and capable for this role now. But promotion requirements are much more like an iceberg. At the top, there's all the surface level requirements, the stuff that's easy to measure, it's easy to write down in a job description. But below the surface is what actually drives the decision. It's proof, it's trust, it's specific high stakes experiences. It's the things that aren't easy to quantify, but they're what leadership actually use to promote you. And the experiences they use that signal that trust and capability are different for every role, but they're always things like have owned an account over $1 million, have led a high-risk customer onboarding, managed one of the overseas branches. So if you want to understand what gets people promoted, look at the people who are moving up and ask, what experiences and opportunities did they get that I haven't gotten yet? Watch what assignments the high potential employees get asked to do. What kind of things are being handed to them as opportunities to demonstrate how valuable they are? Because those are the things that actually get you promoted. But knowing what experiences you need is not enough if you can't get access to them, because leadership isn't handing out these opportunities evenly. So now I'm going to show you how to get the right opportunities without waiting to be chosen and without letting it turn into a carrot that they just dangle in front of you forever, so you can start being the person that HR makes exceptions for. So a lot of clients and professionals, they tell me there just aren't any opportunities here. You need luck or you need to know someone. And if you believe that, then stay tuned, because I'm going to show you how you can create opportunities without being chosen, even if the official line is there's no promotions right now. And it goes like this. So recently I had this client and he said to me, Josh, the only times I've ever been promoted was when I handed in my resignation. Why can't they promote me without me having to threaten to leave? If they were going to do it anyway, why did it take me resigning in order to get it to happen? And as frustrating as that is, it does expose something important, because when you resign, the conversation about your advancement changes, because suddenly there's an element of urgency. And because you don't need the position anymore to stay in your role, you're suddenly more confident to ask about what you want. You don't have to wait until you're halfway out the door to have that same conversation. You can ask any time, because everything you want in your career is going to be behind a difficult conversation. But if you use this conversation map that I'm about to show you, then the conversation will be really easy and you'll walk out of it with something that's going to progress your career forward, no matter what excuse they give you. But you're probably thinking, what's the point in even asking? Because they're just going to say no. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, because now I'll show you the exact steps to turn a no into forward momentum. So the system is called Ask Condition Alternative. So the first part is you ask for the experiences that you need, just like those other people have. So it's something like, I've been focusing on my development for future opportunities, and the area I'd like to focus in on is X. To develop this, I would like to lead a premium account, own the next executive readout, run the next client escalation. And then once you've made the ask, step 2 is where you're going to turn the inevitable no into career momentum with a simple phrase. So step 2 is the conditions. And after you ask, they're just going to say no, right? And they're going to give you a reason like, you're not ready yet, or the timing isn't right, or we could see you doing this, but your best place is where you are right now. And instead of walking out defeated or trying to defend yourself and convince them that you are ready or the timing is right, you ask a really important question that's going to get this whole process moving. You say, okay, I understand. What would need to be true for that to be a yes though? And by asking, they will now tell you what they need to see to fulfill your request. And most of the time, it's just going to be something vague, but that doesn't matter, because once you know what the conditions are, you're ready for step 3. And once you get good at doing this step, you're going to accelerate your career to the next level. And so step 3 is alternative. As soon as they tell you what the condition is, you then follow up with this next question. And the way you say it is important, because you need to reference the reason they just gave you as to why you can't have the thing you asked for. For example, they might say, we'd love to help you out here. It's just the timing's not right, And then you say, I understand the timing isn't right at the moment, but what opportunities are there to develop that skill that are the right timing? And then usually they're not going to be able to offer you anything because they haven't thought about it. But that's when you just start the loop all over again. You jump in with another ask. And this is where no opportunities starts falling apart, because once they've said what the yes requires, what constraint is in the way, there's always an alternative you can still do that's going to move your career forward. So if they said you can't have the big project, well, what if you just led a piece of it? What if you presented one structure, led a work stream, whatever's going to work for your role? So you repeat the ask all over again. You ask for it. If they say no, what constraint is in the way? And then you ask for something else that's outside of that constraint. And if they try to delay the conversation with something like, well, let me think about this and get back to you, then you don't let the momentum die. You lock it in right there. Oh, great, I really appreciate that. I'll put 15 minutes in on Tuesday, or would Wednesday work better for you? Now the conversation has to continue, and the opportunity you're getting doesn't die in their inbox. But delaying the conversation is just one of the ways that this can end with zero momentum. And if you don't know how to navigate the common objections, you'll walk out feeling like you asked without anything really changing. So I've put the entire conversation map in a free download linked in the description below. So no matter where the conversation goes, you'll know exactly what to say next, and you'll always leave that conversation with career momentum.